Welcome to Herd Summer Racing League Race 6. Today it's on 2018 UCI World's Course Short Lap. 23.6 kilometers. We're now entering the mountain stage. Climbers, here's your chance to shine, whereas the sprinters are just trying to hold on and make sure they don't lose out on the time finish. Okay, there's no time finish. But it's going to be a miserable day for those sprinters. 3.3 kilometers in, we start Innsbruck KOM at 7.4 kilometers of climbing. The strategy for this race will be to start off nice and easy with everybody, hopefully keeping the group together so we can catch our breath before we really get serious on that climb. And we're off, taking it easy, gonna see how well this goes. And that's Mike, my own teammate, off the front with red numbers. Now, okay, I know he's not a climber, but man, does he gotta pound us that hard right off the start like that? So I'm going to have to dig a little bit because I can't get off the front group 5 seconds into this race. And there's Sherry with ATP with them, and Sherry is the one to watch. 48 kilograms. Okay, I know we're not supposed to talk about women's weight, but 48 kilograms and 3.2 watts per kilogram, 20-minute pace. She is the one to watch on this climb. I have no idea how I'm going to keep up with that kind of power coming out of here, but I certainly can't get dropped here. All right, we're back up. There's going to form up a nice little group of about 8 of us. Let me speed up and we'll see how this slog of a race goes. So this race is a FTS, fastest through the segment on both the KOM, Innsbruck. We already talked about that, 7.4 kilometers of climbing. We're going to come off that, rest just a little bit to 19.8 kilometers, and then we hit that Legsnapper in case there's anything left in your legs after that climb. They're going to bust it out with another 430 meters of climbing at an average of about 6.9%. And just to make sure there's nothing left, about 1K after that, we're going to do a 300-meter sprint. I don't know who they think is going to be sprinting at that time. The sprinters probably aren't even done with the hill yet. And then we'll finish off with another 2K into the finish just to see if anybody has anything left to try and go for that sprint finish. And after all that talk, we still haven't even made it to the climb section. And before I finish that sentence, it proved me wrong. All right, we're climbing. Boy, it's nice to have 3 herd riders on this race today. Last week it was nothing but ATP around me and it made it extremely difficult. But this climb is going to be long. All right, probably boring if I show you I'll show you the whole thing, but at a really much faster rate. We really need to get like Bob Roll or something on here, comment on all these buildings and their historical significance. That really would help, but he was unavailable today. So hold on and let's get some speed on this and then we'll talk about this climb. On a long, steady climb like this, you really have to know what your numbers are and try and hold them. 2.4 is good for me, but I really want to try to hold closer to 2.7 or 3. As you see, Sherry's moving up off the front already. I've got still have my 2 riders with me. There are 3 of us in total. We've got Ed from the Gorillas here. Gorillas are pretty strong riders, so they're typically big boned and not really fond of climbs, so I'm hoping Ed's going to fall into that category. It does mean he's going to descend quick, so I can't have him hanging around, but hanging around he does. Look at him. Comes up, drops back. Comes up, drops back. After a while, I started to feel like I was a cat with a piece of tape stuck on my foot. I couldn't shake that guy for nothing. You're going to see him for kilometer after kilometer doing that. And I'm just Mike's here with me. We're trying to work together. There go the C's by us. There's no sense trying to hang on to them when we're at 7% grade on the climb. We've got Morgan up here in front of us. He actually sets a pretty good pace. Talking about finding your pace and just staying steady up this climb. He does a pretty good job of that. He's pushing a little bit harder than I'd like to right now. My goal on this climb is really to try to finish 3rd. I know I absolutely cannot beat Sherry, but now I find myself in 5th place, and honestly, I'm not going to be seeing 3rd anytime soon. Maybe I can hit 4th, but Morgan's been proving pretty tough right now, and I'm not sure what Mike's up to. He keeps surging up as well, and like I said, Ed does. I really would like to see Ed drop and make me feel better. I have a feeling he's got a strong sprint. Those guys can really work those pedals. I do not want him around on the sprint section, that's for sure, and definitely not at the end. So Mike and I are trying to do a little bit of work together, trying to catch up to Morgan. Morgan is just steady. But I'm running, 2.4 to 3 is kind of his pace heading up this hill. And I haven't tried that. I'm really trying to hold about 200, 220 on my watts on that upper left. I do slip down the 180s. I'll admit it was a little tough, but I was happy to keep my heart rate staying around 170 on this climb. At this point, I had to make a move, so you saw me go by Morgan. We're running out of hill to be able to get into 3rd place. Crossdale's up there, and I'm really trying to catch him, but I don't think I can because of the watts he's putting out, watts per kilogram. Sherry's gone. I mean, Sherry's 3 minutes ahead. I do not know who Shewell is, but 2 minutes ahead. I suspect we've got another quality climber on hand. Must have been a late sign-up because she was not there, or he, I'm not sure, he or she. Were not there when I was doing my pre-race recon on the riders that were coming in. So I'm pretty happy with what we've got here, and we're closing in on this finish. I've got to get some speed up. I don't really want Mike with me because, like I said, he can sprint and he can descend, and I'm worried about Ed on his descent as well. I know I've got a good minute on him, so hopefully I can stay away. But I'm trying to find my way up to 57. It took me forever. I didn't know this course well enough on this backside to know where to start accelerating. I finally find it. One thing I noticed is Crossdale is pedaling the whole time. I just found the super tuck and just went with it. And I'd pedal when we'd go at less than 3%, and I was able to catch up to him. And I thought, well, I'll just try and let him break the wind and give me a little bit of rest because I'm going to need it on Legsnapper. Because if I have any chance of coming in first, I have got to beat Sherry on Legsnapper on the sprint, because obviously she's got the finish points at 3 minutes and 30 seconds ahead. She came in first on the climb. Yeah, she basically won. Here comes Mike. He powers by. I go with him. He wants me to follow. But if this were a road race with the scratch finish, I would be off and on his tail and doing it. But this is a FTS, so I've got to save a little bit of my legs for Legsnapper. So I end up having to let him go as I want to just catch my breath a little bit. I'm happy to keep Crossdale behind. I do not want to help Crossdale get up this Legsnapper. Here we go into Legsnapper. Now we're actually in good shape because I've got Mike ahead of me. I've got the truck, so I can get a little help from him there. I pop the truck, catch on his back wheel. I thought about hanging back here a little bit, but I have got to come in second on this thing, so I start accelerating past him. But look at that. That was a great job from a teammate to give me a nice support heading on up this hill. And Crossdale's behind, which is what I wanted. Because if you're with someone, they might dig a little deeper. And when they're off the back like that and you're pulling away, it's a whole lot harder mentally, especially after that long climb we just had. But here is the big issue. Good for me, second, but now I've got to get ready for this sprint that's coming up in less than a K. I think it's 800 meters ahead of us here. So I'm trying to catch my breath. I also don't want Mike on me because Mike can sprint, and I don't want him around. So, yeah, I know, great teammate, aren't I? So I'm trying to set this thing up. I also know that after this sprint, we've got 2K to the finish, and I have got to get GC points. I have slipped to second last week, and I really needed this win, but I am not going to get the win, so now I have to do everything I can to come in second place. The third place finish is going to be great, but here we come on the sprint, so I start my pre-acceleration going into the sprint zone here, and honestly, I am just done. I finished Legsnapper with my mouth so dry I could hardly even breathe. It was pure cotton, but I ended up with a good sprint anyway through here. Came in first place on that sprint. Very pleased. Okay, now I've got 1.8 to the finish. I've got Mike behind me. Mike's been an awesome teammate, but I don't trust him to hand me the win, teammate or no teammate. So I'm not going to let him catch up, but honestly, I am really tired here. I am just trying to get to the finish and keep that in 9 seconds back for Mike. I end up popping my arrow here in just a second, and primarily the reason to do that, even though I wasn't near the finish, is because we do not have a sprint finish. So what I want to do is keep a long gap, the biggest gap I can between me and the guy behind me. In this case, it's Mike, but I'm also watching Morgan's number because I don't trust Morgan. It looks like everybody else is way too far back. Honestly, Morgan is too, but I like to be anxious about this thing and make sure I'm not going to get passed. So I will start watching everything. I'm pushing the best numbers I can. We've got half a K to go. I just came off of my arrow. I'm 8 seconds ahead of Mike. I'm really good. I may as well treat this as a training race and not coast on in, just in case next race it's going to be a whole lot tighter. So here we come into the finish line in third place, and let's start seeing what happened here. So what happened is Sherry crushed it. I mean, 2.9 watts per kilogram. Obviously, my longest part of this race was spent on that climb, so that's going to dictate all of that. Shewell 2.7, another amazing climb. Somehow I did 2.3. 2.4 is my FTP at the moment. My 20-minute pushed up a little high today to 2.6 according to this, which is great. Mike coming in 2.2, so you can tell it was a climbing race because look at the watts per kilogram coming through. Crosdale came in at 2.4. Been saying his name wrong the whole time. I fixed it just now. So these are the finishers. Let's take a look at Zwift Power and see where we finished, because this is the road finish. Let's see where the Zwift Power finishes are, because that's where the GC points are coming from. So these are GC points. Sherry coming in first, got the full 50 points. I came in second with 49. Shewell came in third. Mark Morgan fourth. So here's where it kind of starts to get interesting. Ed from the Gorillas came in fifth, and Mike came in sixth. Even though Mike finished fourth on the road, because of his primes, Ed won more primes, and so did Mark, so they came out ahead of him. You got to be careful on these point systems with FTS points races. You have to make sure you get enough points in the primes so that you can hold that finish position and hopefully improve yours. If you remember, I came in third on the road, but because of my primes, I was able to move up to second. So depending what kind of race it is, you really have to pay attention to make sure you get good finish points. We won't go into the GC points today. This video has been long enough, but maybe next week we'll take a look at where we stand with GC when there's only 2 races left to go. Have a great week, everybody. We'll catch you next Friday.